Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, we're talking beer. That's right, beer. Yep, we got another episode of the Pursuit of Hoppiness. And this month's brewery is one close to home and close to our hearts. That's right, it's Brew York. If you're checking us out on YouTube, then you've got lovely faces to look at, and there's a lovely subscribe button just up there. You could click that and be a hero, be a winner. If you just like listening along, that's also fine. But you can also subscribe, SoundCloud, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. So give that subscribe button a lovely press. So, it's time to talk beer, so here we go. This is CookieCast, the Pursuit of Hoppiness. Right then, Matt, I believe it's over to you.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our continue in our pursuit of hoppiness. We have the very thirsty Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. Hello. We have Paul Williams, who's drinking water right now. What the hell? And Mr. Andrew Cook.
Hello.
All about the hydration, Matthew. All about the hydration.
The balance.
Exactly. I mean, if you want, I can just neck like half of this if you want. It's just out on the side once I finish with the beer.
That's a very different podcast. That's the brutalism podcast, I think. All right, then, so let's get straight into it. Beer of the month, gents, please. Who wants to start?
I can go first, or I can go last, whichever you think, because I have an on-brand one for what is to come.
All right, we'll save the on-brand one till last then.
Okay.
Williams.
I'll have to go in the middle because it's just dawned on me that I've not actually had that many beers this month, so I have to think. Because we've been having cocktail. We've had it in our head that we need to do cocktails on a weekend. So I've been having cocktails every bloody weekend and no beers. Terrible.
Yeah. Right then, third time's a charm.
So, I'm not wanting to spoil. I'm not wanting to throw a spoiler out early. But I'm not able to play along this month because of the brewery of choice. So I've been just absolutely getting all over the non-alcoholic beers, and this month I decided to furnish myself with one of these guys.
Oh, it's sort of dust.
And for you YouTube watchers, I'll just give you that bit closer there. It's gone dark, hasn't it? That's the second time I've done that this evening. So that's a peanut butter milk stout, and it was one of those things. I took a chance. I punted on it, and I ordered two. It's like gonna need a couple of those because either it's going to be horrible, and then I only have to get through two, or it's going to be delightful, and I'm going to need more. So I ordered two. Two turned up, and it was the first one I cracked out of that box. I was just like, I've got to know. Interesting is all I'll say on that one. Absolutely nothing like I expected it to be. I expected it to be taste of peanut butter, and it did, but not in any way I thought it would. Not in any way like I was like, oh, that. It was really nice, and it was really the word I would use to describe it would be refreshing. It was really refreshing, like drinking it, and almost part of me thinks that that's maybe because it wasn't at all what I expected. But it was really nice. I had one of those, and then I was like, oh well, if we're treating ourselves this evening, I'm gonna break into the stash and have a space cake dessert. And those two together, they're very, very similar. The way they sort of taste, the way they drink, and like your expectation of them maybe doesn't line up with what you think it's going to be like. But then when you drink it, it's just like there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's not what I expected. Not in a bad way, but it was just like, that's nice. I will absolutely be getting at least a couple more of those bad boys, and I'll put them. They sit very, like I say, they sit very nicely next to the alcohol-free space cake from Tiny Rebel.
Which brewery is that?
It is Hamilton of London, apparently.
Ah. Well, I'll go. Being as give Mr. Williams to get the old time to get the old cogs working. I will give you my beer of the month. It was, it had been the same beer for a while, and I've mentioned it on the last podcast. I'd been thinking it had been Baskland's blueberry sour. It's called Squishy, and it was that one, and it was that one for 3 weeks. It was absolutely amazing. And then last weekend, I opened up a can of Nottingham's very own Neon Raptor Brewing Company Twerking Turkeys, which is a sweet cherry, cranberry, and plum lassie goes, and it's got everything. It's got everything that you want from that kind of sour range. For me, it's got the kind of flavors of those different fruits, but it's also got that kind of like sour punch to the face that makes you go, "What? That one's kind of really kind of hit the spot there." But really, really drinkable. It's like the third or fourth beer I've had from theirs. They do really good IPAs, double IPAs, all that kind of thing. And they're a pain in the backside to get hold of because their website only sells in like 4s, 8s, or 12s. But I've since found there's a place in Derby that sells their individual cans, so I will be investing in some individual ones soon. Not that I really need them, but yeah, that one, it was just awesome. A kind of honourable honourable mention. I find a better way of saying that is I had Golden Milk again from North, their triple fruity goes, which is just awesome. We had it at Craft Beer Calling, one of the first time that I went. We've had it in the cans a few times since, and that one again, I cracked that out on Saturday, I think, and I was like, yeah, that feels good. But the Twerking Turkeys it's one of the best sours I've drank. Full stop. To be honest, I think it's one of the best ones up there. So yeah, it was really good. Just easy drinking. Hence having another one. So right then, Mr. Williams, have we?
I've eventually found it. It was. I'll just show the camera.
Ah, yes.
Is the Buxton lemon meringue pale. I believe when I was discussing it with Amy, we believe that we had it fresh.
Nice.
Stu's got a can of it right there. We believe we tried it fresh in the tap room in Buxton back in the summer. But obviously this must be like a re-release of it, and it was very, very nice. Lovely balance of the lemon and the. You still knew you were drinking a beer, so it wasn't like they just liquefied a lemon meringue pie and put it in a glass for you. But it was very nice. They'd got the balance just spot on for me.
Excellent. And that one's a Tesco kind of beer, isn't it?
That was a Tesco pickup. Yeah.
One you can get from Tesco. I've seen it in our Tesco. So yeah. But,
not one of your 3 for 5, unfortunately. That one'll stay back a princely sum of 5 English. So.
Yeah, as far as Tesco beers goes, yes, it was a Tesco beer. Yes, there will be some people who will disagree with buying their beer from Tesco, but lockdown people needs must, right? So, very similar. Just to follow on from what Paul said, it was very nice. Yes, I did have a can of it. Yes, it has all gone. And in a very similar situation to you, Matt, for a good fortnight or more of this month, that can has been kept because that was purely for podcast purposes. And then I had a bit of a not well, it was a bit of a shock, really, I guess, because I wasn't expecting anything from this. Now, as we'll get to very shortly, I have started with the Brew York subscription box, and 9 beers, comes every month, and good selection of different things in it. Now, not meaning to talk it down in any way, shape or form at all, but this turned up in it, which for those of you that aren't YouTube initiated at the moment, it's called The Things Yuzu to Me. Now, I saw the can, nicely decorated, a lot of Japanese food on it, thought, right, not really any idea what's going on there. And then I started to read on the back of it that they teamed up with one of the food partners, which they've dealt with for their bar in Leeds, called Yuzu. Again, was like, right, cool, they've just named it after the thing, not knowing what Yuzu was. And then I had the beer and found out that it's a Japanese citrus fruit, and it is fucking awesome. So, yeah. It got the whole F-bomb treatment there because it just took me by complete surprise. I took it out of the box thinking 5.6, reasonable hit on it, but I was just expecting an IPA out of it. Didn't expect really anything special, and it absolutely blew me away. So if anybody gets a chance, any of them still in circulation, the Things Yuzu to me, get hold of one of them because that was brilliant. Really enjoyed it.
Excellent. So, right then, so what we're going to do is we'll look into our focus brewery of the month. So, kind of spoiler alert, or kind of hinted to already by Stu there. So we're kind of looking at Brew York. So, as I think we mentioned on other pods and stuff like that, we all have a connection to York. Paul and Andy live in York. If you want to go and stalk them and do shit like that. Me and Stu both went to university in York and lived there for a bit afterwards, and still return to not the motherland, is it really? But kind of like something like that.
The old stomping grounds.
That's the one. The old stomping grounds in its new guise as it's changed since I left university nearly 20 years ago now. So. All right, so kind of looking at it. So Brew York started in 2015. So the original breweries was on Walmgate along with the tap room. But more recently, they've invested £1.5 million in building a new brewery out on the outskirts somewhere to kind of obviously increase production, kind of build the brewery along. But they are keeping both breweries. I thought it was quite interesting to see that they're keeping both breweries open. The one in town is going to become like an experimental kind of brewery where they can kind of perhaps produce more small batch, unique kind of stuff. Obviously they've got their tap rooms, the one in York, they've got the one in Pocklington, and then the more recently opened one in Leeds. Kind of open. Was it open during lockdown or just before lockdown? I can't quite remember.
I have a feeling it might have been over summer in the in the break between lockdowns. in the brief moment where we all went nuts and kind of
lockdown interlude.
Yeah. And obviously I put like a little kind of note to kind of below it as well, kind of not to be confused with York Brewery of kind of real ale fame and Guzzler and Yorkshire Terrier and stuff like that. It's now owned by Black Sheep, which in my research, and it's like all the beers have been made out in Masham. with the brewery in York. Just kind of, not that we're talking too much about York Brewery, but obviously that brewery has now shut. Considering that most of us have, if not all of us, have done a brewery tour around there at some point. Me being the one who, as a best man, couldn't organise a piss in a brewery because we turned up for the brewery tour about an hour late. With the famed JFG. We can laugh about it now because all was kind of sorted and kind of, they were like, oh, they were very good about it, and let's have our tour anyway. And so, we're, like, going into this, like, obviously we like to talk about the core range. Wow, what an extensive core range! It is monstrous. I've got kind of just like little kind of A4 kind of book, may or may not have been stolen from the school storeroom.
Definitely wasn't.
And I was writing them out, and I'm like, oh, there's one, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. I'm like, right, I'm about halfway down the page now. Now I don't know whether some have moved in and out of them, but the problem is, like, I look at them all, and I'm like, maybe we could just whistle through them and not talk about them. And then I'm like, well, no, because I actually do want to talk about most of these beers. So the first one I've got is their kind of like their stout or their dark beer, that the kind of thing is. So the Toncoco, their milk stout. Yeah. Kind of do you want to talk about that one? Obviously, they kind of mess about with it again, don't they, and kind of do different versions of it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you mentioned the core range, it was only fairly recently, wasn't it, that they put out some posts about actually they've tweaked it. So yeah, you're right. It has been extended, I think, recently. But have you got the list there? Have you got 9 on your list?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 I've got on my list.
Holy crap! Okay, well, I only seen 9, and I thought 9 was extensive. That's the stuff I've seen, Paul. So, now it's been a long time since I've had the Toncoco. Like, obviously, for me personally as well. Like, it's a bit of a. I have a hard time saying it, not necessarily pronouncing it, but purely because it brings out the whole accent in a delightful fashion. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had one. I do have fond memories of it, but I couldn't I think we need to do some more research as soon as we're able to be honest.
Well, the way that one of my work colleagues used to describe it was, she when she first tried it, she described it as they'd liquefied Bounty and put it in a glass, basically, which is a very accurate response, to be fair, because it does have that coconutty overtone is definitely the main flavour hit that you'd get with it when you do drink it. But they've done, like Matt said, they've done a hell of a lot of runs on it, and they've done loads of variations with it. The one that I saw that interested me the most was when they did Toncoco, and they brewed it with oat milk instead of regular milk or whatever they were doing it for. And when you tasted it, you definitely could tell the difference, but it wasn't to the detriment. It wasn't as if it was an odd taste. It was just, if anything, it was more creamy, I suppose, because of the oats and things, what they had in it. But yeah, there's it's definitely a winner as far as dark beers go. Obviously, we all like dark beers, as has been discussed on the pod before. So it's definitely a winner, and I always find it's an easy sort of go-to beer if you're looking to get something and you're in Brew York. It's a one that you know is always going to be on, and you can just get yourself a third or a half, and just it's a good reset beer. Everyone needs that good reset beer.
I think it's got it's a 4.3 ABV, which is kind of like quite low for a dark beer as well. Which you kind of sometimes, if you want that slightly kind of, like you said, it's like a reset, a beer that takes you a little bit longer to drink because it's a bit of a, it's not a massive chew on to drink, but it's kind of like a bit more like, you don't want to take massive gulps of it. It's not like one that you're just going to chuck down really quick. But yeah. obviously, like I said, they've done like they did. Was it the 4 set of barrel aged ones as well that they did? That was around. Was that last Christmas or the Christmas before?
I think so. Was it a standard one that was Imperial, and then there was the 3 barrel aged ones where it was a Jack Daniels, Wild Turkey, and a Buffalo Trace. I think were the bourbon aged barrels that they put it in.
Mm. It's one of them things where you think, I really should buy those. Oh shit, I missed buying those. And then you kind of see people talking about it, like, damn it, I really should have got that one. Right, so is there any that we want to kind of? So I'll read them out and then we can talk about them. We can miss ones out if we don't want to talk about them. So Karma Chameleon, Juice Forsyth, Haze of Thunder, Lupu Lion, Goose Willis, Time Traveling Taxi, Rhubarb Streisand, Big Eagle, and then the Lost Morris Lager and the Lost Morris APA. Those are the ones that were thrown in. So I've got 11 because I put Lupu Lion twice. I like that one. Just kind of, obviously it was like a subconscious kind of thing of it. I really like that beer. I better write it down twice.
Well, for me, one of the bit just cross contaminate the old podcast, but one of the things that I like about them, obviously, is the fact they do the occasional wrestling themed beer as well, and the fact that Big Eagle has now made it into the standard lineup. Yeah, for the uninitiated, a Big Eagle is one of the few belts that isn't on display behind me right now, but it is one of the names given to a wrestling belt from a particular era. Just a lovely beer. Like there's, and again, this is the thing with the core range. Like to say that they've gone and diversified, and they've got the rhubarb Streisand and things like that in it. That they have covered different genres, if you like, for sure. But as Paul said with the Tom Coco, like great as a reset beer. Big Eagle again. If you want a beer that you know what it's going to taste like before you drink it, you read it and it's like that was exactly what I was expecting. And sometimes that's just what you want. Like you know, there are times when you'll venture in for like something that's been flavoured with 13 different things for no real reason other than to see if it worked or not. But like I would have no qualms like walking in there and ordering even a pint of that, or a full pint for a craft beer drinker. I know that's a bit of a but I'd quite happily have a pint of Big Eagle for sure. Like that, out of the ones that have been mentioned, it'll be that, and I like my hazy beers, so Haze of Thunder would be another one that I would quite happily go for. As probably the 2 that I would pick out from that list.
I think like looking at that list, there's just not a bad beer on the list. There's not a beer that you think I'm good. You pick it, you're splitting hairs, and it's just a personal preference. I wouldn't buy a lager. I'm sure it's probably a nicer lager than your Carlsberg and Foster's and all that shite. But I just don't like the fizziness. I don't like the kind of thing after you feel it. But you just look at those. You look at each one, and I'm kind of thinking, right, well, which is the one that I wouldn't pick out of that? And I'm thinking, the Goose Willis, that gooseberry full sour is just, it absolutely hits the spot. Like you said, Haze of Thunder is absolutely awesome, and then the time traveling taxi with that double dry hop IPA with that, like, it's just got that nice burn of the dry hops at the end of it, and I'm just like, I could drink that and have one of them, fill another one up, drink that again. But yeah, that Big Eagles, obviously it's won gold awards as well. It shows how good it is. But yeah, it's that collection of core beers. It's just, yeah, and obviously you can get Juice Forsyth in Morrison's. We kind of talk about this kind of thing of like, support your local craft beer shop. It's great, but sometimes when you come home or you're doing that Saturday shop in Tesco's, and it's if I buy this beer, I might not kill that person who just hit me with their trolley for the 10th time. So Because if I buy this beer, I won't. I'll stop myself from getting arrested. It's that. Yeah, I think. But the Juice Forsyth one is a really, really good kind of beer. Right, and so I think like special edition kind of seasonal beers. Has anybody got any kind of favourites from that kind of one?
Well, again, I'll stick with what I know, but one of the ones that sticks in the memory the most is another wrestling themed beer, but by the name of Sweet Gin Music, named after the finishing move of one Mr. Shawn Michaels. That, again, I walked into, this is a while back now, I walked into Atom, the bar of the brewery in Hull, and just I'd seen the Brew York. You can tell the can art from a mile, and I could see it on the pump clip. And I was like, "There's Brew York beer. There's Brew York. Go see what it is." Got up there, and I was like, "It's got tiny wrestling belts on it." And then I looked at the name, and obviously everything clicked. And I had to buy that straight away. We got completely suckered in by it could have been a turd in a glass, but by the fact of what was on the pump clip, I was always going to buy that. And I'm pleased to report it absolutely wasn't. So it's as the name might suggest, yes, it had a gin sort of essence to it, if you like. It was flavoured with juniper berries, and again, very, very nice. So I would love to see that make a comeback at some point. Obviously, by the way that time spans out, eventually it's somehow got to make more comebacks than Shawn Michaels himself. So yes, please, Brew York, please make that beer again.
I just envisaged Stu going into the shop and being like, you see that beer there? I'll have that one. And they're like, just one? No, I'll have that one. Just keep pouring them into the basket until they're all gone. I'll take the lot.
That's how Matt does his shopping, mate. That's not me.
I think that's something worth talking about. Is again, like we spoke about it last time on like Tiny Rebel with their unique kind of artwork. Obviously, it's got focusing around the teddy, the bear that they've got, and obviously with the Stay Puffed and how they've kind of worked with that, and also probably a brewery that we'll talk about at some point, like Magic Rock as well. That kind of like unique artwork of the cans. Like every one comes with like a really kind of unique kind of thing. I particularly like the kind of one like when you showed the yuzu one, and like with the little kind of pictures of things, and obviously like, a lot of the wrestling ones have come with those kind of smaller ones. The obviously their range of they kind of like have. I quite like the kind of different ranges that they have. So obviously they've got the kind of like the wrestling influenced one. So like we talked about, got Big Eagle there. Obviously, the Sweet Gin Music. Was there a Macho Man, Randy Savage one?
Was it a Mocker Man? Right, that is in my fridge downstairs. Sorry, that is in my fridge downstairs. There's also been a beer that caused a bit of a few texts to fly around. I think we all had the Big Red Machine named after Kane.
Yeah,
as well. So
that was a collab with Top Rope as well, wasn't it? Top Rope Brewery.
Oh yes, that week when we discussed Top Rope Brewing, like I'll be happy. I'll be like, I'm done. That'll be me.
And then also you got Triple H as well, which is obviously a yearly rebrew one, that's a cracking beer as well.
I imagine that must have been fairly close to getting into the core range at one point for how well that beer does for them.
I was surprised when I looked at the list of core range beers that wasn't in there, because it's like it's one of those kind of, if someone said to me name a Brew York beer, I'm like Triple H. It's probably one of the first ones that I remember having. One of the first ones that I definitely remember going back to have more of, and like always enjoying it. You never kind of like, oh, that was shit. You never have that kind of thing. You think, all right, yeah, I'll definitely have another one of those kind of thing. And next time I see that, it's kind of one of them things that when you see it in the shop or when you see it in the bar or something like if I don't have it straight away, I'm definitely going to have it at some point in the next hour or two. It's definitely somewhere on the list. It's on the list, for that kind of thing. And then Paul, obviously, you kind of shown your, is that a Raquel Welch kind of one, and they kind of do that with the kind of where they have Hollywood actresses ones, with the kind of different ranges of those ones. So I'd kind of looked at the Heidi Plum and the Dame Judi Quench and the Katy Berry ones as well. That kind of that kind of range of ones as well. So
they do. That's the one thing about Brew York is that they definitely like a pun. Let's put it that way. They're very pun heavy on their beer names. One of the seasonal ones that I remember getting was the Hey Mango, the mango milkshake IPA. That one was really, really good.
Yeah. So that would that be your kind of rebrew one that you'd?
Yeah, that. Or there was. I've had a look through my Untapped to see what I've actually put in there. That one got a 4.25. I'm just trying to think. There was another one that was. The Peach Mode was also a really good one, and that was the Peach milkshake IPA one. That was excellent. They're really, really good.
Going back to what you were saying about how they love a pun, one of my favourite ones. I know nothing about the beer. These are the things. I'm just in it for the pun, but it was Brew York's Evil Dead beer, the Juice Campbell versus the Army of Dankness. I mean, and again, the can art was amazing for that. It's I obviously what's in the can was no use to me, but I did love the Evil Dead one.
I think this is when you talk about this and you brought that one up, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that beer. That beer was absolutely fucking awesome, and that's not even on my list. So like I said, it's 2 pages worth of stuff. I've managed to cram it into one. Optimus Prime. They rebrew that every year. Optimus Prime, 9.5 Imperial double hopped New England IPA. It's an absolute MRF, that one. It kind of wrecks your life, but absolutely tastes amazing whilst doing it. The Serial Killer, the West Coast IPA. X-Parrot, the Tropical IPA. That one was a good one. Katy Berry, the Blueberry Pastry Sour, also great. Simon Lemon, the Lemon Sherbet Sour.
Now, that one is one out because I was like, oh my god, there was a lemon one, and I know it was lemon, but I couldn't remember what it was, and of course it was Simon Lemon, and that I'd completely forgotten about that beer until Paul started talking about the different things a second ago. I was hoping that would get a mention because it was essentially the beer version of the old boiled lemon sweets, wasn't it? It's just incredible, really, really, really good.
That it is absolutely awesome. I can't think. I didn't write my rating down from Untapped, but all you need to know about Paul's rating is that Radler's, particularly kind of Foster's. What is it? Foster's
well, any Radler will do, but Foster's Radler was the king back in the day.
4.5.
That got 4.5 stars. So what can I say? It was a particularly hot day, and I was in need of some. Rather large refreshment.
Your scores mean nothing.
Whilst we're sort of talking the names and stuff as well, one thing that I do think that they do well is play on the heritage as well. So obviously they have a lot of links to with York, a lot of links to chocolate. So they have the chocolate story beer and brownie pints and extra brownie pints, which is the Imperial version. But particularly, if I remember rightly, I think the chocolate story beer was made in conjunction with a local chocolatier. I seem to remember it was. I think it might even have been called the chocolate story because it was with the people who do the background. They do all the museum sort of esque. Chocolate Story, I believe they're called even, so that would make sense.
Yeah, York Chocolate Story was the guys they teamed up with, so yeah.
Yeah, so that again, it's good that they that they're willing to throw it out there and make something a little bit different, but also then stick to local stuff as well, and sort of help promote the local area as well as build their own brand.
The chocolate orange one that we had around Christmas time.
A chocolate orange. That one was good. That one was very good.
I mean, I say Christmas time. You might have had yours like a couple of months beforehand, but that's when its time was. The last two I've got is sour grapes and
Silly Japes.
The red grape and raspberry imperial pastry sour, and the Heidi plum. And I'm not going to comment any further because it would probably get me cancelled what I might say from there on. So, but yeah, any of those they could do. The Optimus Prime is you can request the Optimus Prime rebrew. You get it every year because I'm sure Optimus Prime 2020 was out recently, and I'm sure I bought it and drank it and enjoyed it, and I'll be waiting for Optimus Prime 2021 to be honest, because it's definitely one of my absolute favourites. Right, we've got a kind of special treat, mainly for those folks of you who watch the YouTubes. So if you're listening to the podcast, it might be worth kind of seeing how far you are through the podcast now, popping onto YouTube, finding the Cookie Cast, subscribing to the Cookie Cast, and then watching you can fast forward through our banter, as it were, for the previous however many minutes, and forward us onto this bit because Stu does subscribe. So Brew York also do a subscription service that they've released. I think is it 2 months now that they've done it? Or is
I think they've possibly done it for 3 months up to time of recording. I was a bit late on the with the party on that one, so I've had it for the last 2 months. So this month was my second month. You get 9 beers in a box, a little magazine, and every third month, so next month for me, you get something a little bit extra. So glass, please. That would be really appreciated. Thank you very much. So this is going to sound something stupid as well. So when we're talking about like the branding and all the rest of it, because you only ever see like the logo from a distance, for whatever reason, I've always thought it was a panda. If you have a little look at the logo and you're like obviously a bit as blind as me, you might also see that. And then it wasn't until I got the box delivered to the door that I then realised it's actually 2 lions and 2 eagles, which is really bizarre. So as Matt alluded to, I have had a box delivered, and I thought we'd do a little bit of an unboxing on the podcast. So I will do that now. Yes, I have a box opener. Judge all you like. It is brilliant. So
I believe you.
How much did that cost you?
Well, that's not the question you need to ask, Paul. The question you need to ask is, before I had the box opener, how did I open the box to open the box? So,
scissors.
Inception, my friends. Right, so let's get into this box. I'm gonna just drop it down a little bit, because otherwise you will see. Right, so as I said, you get a nice little magazine in it. The magazine comes with information about all the different beers inside the box, so I'll not flick through that bit just yet because I'll spoil some stuff for me. But one thing that I do like is that they have like a focus on a particular beer in the back of every one. So this one is the Looper Lion, and I assume that they probably have put that in there because it was one of the recent additions to the core range as we discussed. And in particular, for those that might be interested in the home brewing side of things, they also, once a month, publish an actual like ingredients bill in the back of the magazine. So, they're not hiding anything. They'll tell you exactly how to do it, what to put in it, and have a go yourself. I think if you ever did it, I think they'd probably be quite open to seeing the results as well. But yeah, then there's always a bit of information from the brewers, and then each page is then essentially the beers that you get. So I have kept this box purely to open on this. I haven't had a beer yet on this podcast, so one of these beers will be getting opened momentarily. I have been kept in my garage since arrival. Also, as well, as part of this, they've started doing a YouTube live tasting. So if you don't fancy the 9 beers in the subscription set, you think that might be a little bit too much, The 4 of the beers in this box you can buy as a separate YouTube taster pack, and then once a month on Friday night, generally sit down with the cans, watch YouTube, and after you've finished watching Cookie Cast podcasts, of course, you can then join in with the brewers from Brew York and go through a few. So I do know a few of the beers that are going to be in here because I have seen that pack. So let's get into it. So we have this month we have Thunder Truck, so the 4.9 pale ale. We have I'd seen this on the website a while back, all because it's obviously their play on
Milk Tray.
Milk Tray, but it is a chili cherry chocolate milk stout.
Oh, nice.
Chili beer is a new one for me, I believe, so that could be an interesting one. We have, speaking of rebrews from earlier, this is one that we will only ever refer to, as they will now, as HYG, purely for copyright reasons.
Yes.
That is a 10% peanut caramel marshmallow milk stout. I have had that one before on the original one when it had its full title.
It's good.
Before Uni's got their knickers in a twist. There's one for Mr. Williams. So we have the variation on Tonkoko. So this one is s'more Tonkoko. So what you know and love with the coconut and chocolate, but this time throw in a bit of extra vanilla and marshmallow. So there's that one. Looking forward to that. Looper Lion, as we've talked about. Excellent. So again with the puns, if anyone can see that, Mash Bandicoot. I'm pretty sure this won't be flavoured with actual Wumpa, seeing as they're just apples to everybody else who plays Crash Bandicoot. Brewed to commemorate the 25th anniversary of an era-defining classic platform game. Well, that's a 5% Mosaic Pale Ale. What else we got? Haze of Thunder, one of the core ones. And finally, last but not least, on the 9th beer of my box, Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, yeah. The lingonberry, nice.
So, again, in fact, actually, I might have one more in there. So, this is a lingonberry, grapefruit, lime, and ginger sour. So, Paul will like that one. And there is one more. And I've saved, inadvertently, the highest ABV for last. So, you'll have seen the variety of styles in the box. This is Dradis.
Oh, yes.
It's 12% Russian Imperial Stout. I'm probably gonna not drink that on the podcast just because. But I feel like I've talked a lot. I feel like I've run through the box fairly quickly. But as you can see, if you don't subscribe, there is a good range of styles in there between the pales and the sours and the stouts and the heavier hitting stuff. So I am more than happy with that box, including delivery. It's around £37, which is probably about benchmark, I would say, for that sort of stuff. It's not particularly overly expensive. It's not particularly cheap either. It's probably about where it needs to be, I'd say.
You say 37?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For 9 cans plus the delivery.
For 9 cans, that what are they? Is that the 400?
Yeah, they're all 440ml cans. Last month I did get a can of Rhubarb Streisand that was a small can, but the other 8 were all big ones.
Well, I think if you compare it to Northern Monk, with their obviously they've got their tiers. Excuse me, their lowest tier is £45 plus delivery. So I think £37 including delivery is excellent. I mean, I'm not sure what other subscription kind of ones are about, but on the 2 that I know, this one and the Northern Monk one, this is probably a far better deal than the Northern Monk ones, considering some of the absolute shite that was put in the ones that we Edge.
It wasn't terrible beer. It was just that it ended up being too much core range, which wasn't the whole point of what it was for that. But,
it was too much core range, too many 330 ml cans, and stuff like that, and too many of the same beer every month. Extraordinary.
Well, I'm happy to report I have just opened the Mash Bandicoot. Purely, I have to go pun first. Absolutely have to go pun first. Mosaic Pale Ale, and it is delightful. It's
good.
Mainly clear on the whole. I did tilt the glass and then absolutely stuffed the end of it, so it did fizz a little more than I would have liked on my by my own pouring standards. But yeah, very very good. Nice flavour to it. It's not overpowering in any way, shape or form. It's just happy.
Just have to look. You can see Paul's like got a full on. He's waiting for his flake to be delivered to put into that one.
That's perfect. That's as it would have been poured in the tap room.
And then put a flake in for you.
So what have you got there, Paul? Ooh, we can play Snap because you've got one that I just pulled from the box, haven't you? So
yeah. I was gonna try and jump in and tell you to open this so we could have a taste off, but you've mashed me.
With if I get this one finished, I can always have another one. It's no more than 2 on a school night. That's the rule.
Absolutely not.
So.
Right, and so I mean that, like I said, like kind of thing. I think that's a really reasonable kind of like subscription box. Hopefully, other kind of places will follow suit, kind of thing. To drink beers from other places, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we've talked about this before. Subscription boxes are a really nice idea if you only want to drink the beer of one kind of brewery, and it kind of like gets into kind of kind of flipping that you decide on getting somewhere else. Right, are we ready for a game of guess the ABV?
Why not?
Use ABV is right.
Yeah, go on then.
That?
Find out of your area. No Googling the beer names.
I mean, I think you'd struggle to find some of these.
It's because the rest of the world drank them 12 months ago whilst they went securely into the vault of Matt.
See, I can smugly kind of sit here and go, look. Right, I mean, to be fair, I'm getting ahead of the game. I'm nearly up to June, so like I'm like nearly 2 months ahead. Right, so the first one is In Your Face. So the name of the beer is In Your Face.
What brewery?
Were
we doing breweries? We didn't do breweries last time, did we?
Well, I was going to make a suggestion there. I was going to say we could make it like a double game. So you need us the name of the beer, and then we have to guess type, and then obviously we do the ABV.
Okay, then all right then.
So, in Your Face to me puts up session smashable. So I'm gonna go somewhere in the region of about 4.2, and I'm just gonna say it's a pale ale.
Okay.
Andy, do you want to have a go?
To me, its name screams more of a sour, like a in your face kind of sour, and I'm going to go with a 5.
So I'm going to go the complete opposite to Stuart. I'd say In Your Face would indicate to me that it's going to be a hoppy bastard that's going to slap you around the face. So I'm going to go double dry hopped pale, 8.5%.
Right then. Okay, so it's actually a German brewery called Crew Republic. And those of you who are going with the pale ales, almost right. It's a West Coast IPA, and it's a 6.8%.
I think that puts it closer to Paul, doesn't it? So Paul can have the honours for the next high or lower then.
Right. I mean, you might know this one. Blue cheese.
Is that the Almasty beer?
It is the Almasty beer, yeah.
Right, so Stu has to go last then.
That's how it was. 6.8% last one.
Yeah.
So, blue cheese by Almasty Brewing Company. So you've got to guess the type of beer.
I'll go sour. And I'll go lower.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's a stout. And yeah, I would say it's lower.
Okay. Stu?
I have seen this on their Facebook posts because I'm guessing the version you've got, Matt, is last year's brew and we're on to the rebrew now possibly. Unless it's one of the standard ones. But I have a feeling that is at least a double IPA. And I'm going to, on that note, it'll be minimum of...
That beer's hit quick.
Of about, I'm going to 8%. I'm estimating for a double.
So you've gone higher.
He's absolutely nailed it. So it is a double IPA and it is 8%.
What? So he's absolutely got it spot on.
It's absolutely spot on.
I might have seen that on Facebook a while ago, remember? So inside information, possibly.
Just a momentary pause just there. I think Andrew Cook needs to bring that can back.
Oh yes, what we?
What have you cracked, sir?
Ah,
nice.
This is another one of the companies that just does alcohol-free beers in there. I think they only brew non-alcoholic.
The last one I was drinking.
Is that the Big Drop Brewery, or that was the last one?
Coast.
It's called Coast. I was going to say Coast.
Coast.
Well, we'll discuss that after the podcast. Right, next one. This one is North Bridge.
It's called North Bridge.
It's called North Bridge.
You're not helping us out there, Mr. Brewer, with your names that mean nothing.
Go and talk to your brother about it.
Oh, I swear to God, 1 week what we'll have to do is when we do the week that's not brewery centric and we just do it based on best named beers, we'll get him
his name.
Yeah, we'll get his honest opinion on is there enough money in the budget for a Jaguar or whatever it was. Was that a Cloudwater one?
It was
I can't remember. The one that really upset him was the Wylam one with the Greyhounds one.
Well, the Greyhounds don't like jazz.
Yeah. Anyway, so North Bridge.
North Bridge.
I'm gonna go lower. I'm gonna go at about a 5.8, and I'm gonna guess at a hazy IPA.
Okay. Mr. Cook?
So I was going to go IPA. It's going to be lower. Got to go lower. Yeah, I'm stuck with IPA and lower.
That's fine. That's the game.
I'll round us out with our first stout of the evening, clocking in at around 6%, so lower.
So did you all go lower?
Yep.
You're all right with lower. It is an IPA. It is a mountain IPA. whatever that means. This one, when I pulled this one out of the fridge, it made me laugh because I think it might upset Stu a little bit. Think North Bridge. And why it might upset you a little bit.
Is it a collab?
It is a collab.
Oh, it's bloody Thornbridge, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, who do you think they've collabed with?
Yeah, rub it in.
Go on.
Oh, Stu.
North Brewing, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
I love North Brewing. Love North Brewing. Cannot stand Thornbridge. Sorry, Thornbridge, if you're actually listening to this. You're just not my taste for me.
You're not his cup of beer.
Correct. And if you're drinking it from a cup, get yourself a glass, you filthy animal.
I mean, I don't know whether it makes it better or worse. It's not good.
No, I could enjoy a nice sippy cup of beer at some point, surely.
That's really kind of harsh. All right, next one. So, yeah, you were all right with going under. Those who said IPA, you were nearly right.
It wasn't under by much, was it? It was 7.2, wasn't it?
7.2, yeah.
It was still hefty.
I mean, there's not many weak beers in the stash.
Spoilers.
Right, next one. This one is called. I mean, this is a very James Williams kind of one. Vision.
Oh, that's also very topical of you to pull that out as One Division has just finished, no?
So,
I'm guessing it's not actually made with fresh ground mindstone for the Marvel fans amongst us. But who was closest last time?
I don't think
I said 5.8.
I said 6 point something.
I didn't give a percentage. I said lower.
So it's
Mr. Williams.
you to go first, then, Paul.
Vision.
The last one was 7.2 Mountain IPA. This one is Vision.
That is particularly wanky.
It's mega.
Right, so wanky to me reads that it has to be at least a double. So I'll go for a double IPA. And I'll go... slightly higher. I'll go 8.1.
Okay, then. Next guess.
I think Vision. I'm going a hazy IPA, like hazy Vision sort of situation. Yeah, I'm going higher. Like crazy high, like a 9 or something.
Okay.
Why not?
I'm gonna go lower, but Andy did jump on my idea because whoever's beer it is, I feel that this one could be lower because then the marketing for it writes itself when they do a double and call it Double Vision. So I'm gonna go lower, but I'm gonna go hazy.
Hazy. It is lower. It's 6.8. It is a sour IPA from my boys at Almasty Brewing Company again. So that were they kept, the blue cheese and the Vision came out about a similar time last year. So of course I snappled them both up. This one, people might get you. Some of you might know this one. I'm going to assume Stu might know this one. Right, last one. another really wanky name. Oh, kind of miserable. A Summer of Drowning. Kind of. A Summer of Drowning.
Now, I'm going to jump straight in and say, is that a Wylam beer?
It is a Wylam beer. It's a very wild name.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely is. I mean, your last one was a sour, so I'm not going to say sour. I've hung my hat twice on hazy, but I don't know that they would necessarily have that on there. Drowning your sorrows. another Impy beer, so I'm going to say Imperial IPA.
Okay.
And therefore it has to be higher.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I like the Impy. So I'll piggyback off that, but I'll go Impy Stout.
Stout. Okay.
And what was it? A Summer of Drowning.
The Summer of Drowning.
It's going to be hefty, innit? Because you don't want to drown your sorrows in a nice beer that's going to make you question whether you're going to wake up the next morning. Let's go. Let's finish big. Let's finish with a double figure. Let's go 10.3.
Okay then.
I think you might have overshot that one, Paul.
Right, round us off, Mr. Cook.
I'm going with a milk stout and like a 8.2. I can't remember if that's higher or lower now.
That would be higher. It is. Did you all go over? You all went over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul was miles off. It is an all strata IPA. They seem to have gone. Wyland definitely seem to have gone down the line of naming the hops that are in at the moment and kind of focusing on these all. Right, we've gone all of this. So it's an all strata IPA, which I read and was like, just going to check my writing there. Is that Australia IPA? But no, it's all strata IPA. And it's 7.3, so not a massively not a massive amount over the other one. But yeah, that brings us to the end of that. I think that was a win for Stu there. If we're keeping that score, well, yeah, very well done. Right then.
I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing winning that. Unless I get like one of each of them from you, then I'll.
Yeah, come up in the next week.
Wait. well. I suppose we should drop in the mention of the fact that from the 29th in England you are allowed to go and sit in your mate's garden and freeze your knackers off, but also have a beer. So there's light at the end of the old tunnel at the moment.
Not if it was anything like today. Today was glorious in Little Old York. Sun was out pretty much all day.
I meant to send it to you guys before. I got a snow warning on my phone today. I was like, what the hell?
What?
It's cold. I don't think it's snow cold. Right, so we've got as it brings us nicely into any other beerness.
Andrew.
Mr. Andy's got his hand up. Yes.
I can't remember if this was a conversation that we had off air or if this was something that we discussed last time. So one of you might be able to help about the. This is a bit of a local thing, but about the House Trembling Madness delivery. Did we discuss that last time?
Refresh us with what topic was.
Just so Paul recommended to me that the House Trembling Madness in York have an extensive range of non-alcoholic beers on their website, and their delivery is nothing short of amazing, because if you order it before a particular time of day, they'll deliver it that day.
Excellent. 2:00.
So if you order it in the morning...
I think it's a 2 o'clock cut-off point. So if your order is placed before 2 p.m, they will deliver it the same day.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a shout out in the sense that as far as like service is concerned, I'd been umming and ahhing and mulling it over about putting an order in, but with this coming up, I was like, I'm just going to bite the bullet. So I placed an order in the morning, and as far as a service, you get constant updates on your order. So you get like your orders being picked, your orders being packed, your orders out for delivery. It'll be delivered between these times, and then a big box of beer, albeit non-alcoholic beer, turned up on the doorstep, and yet I couldn't possibly say enough. Because I think
return the favour and email them every time you drink one, so they get an update of the progress.
I think that the delivery is free as well. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's free delivery.
Over a certain amount. I think it's if you spend £30 or more, the delivery is free within York.
I absolutely did.
For the listeners of these podcasts that will be outside of the York area, you will have to pay a small fee. But I think
however, I have also used their services during lockdown, and they did a very commendable thing for the first lockdown as well, where you could buy a pack which included a donation to the NHS, particularly in the York area, and it included a Corona beer, a Viru beer, a face mask, and a toilet roll. So, at the time, it was very difficult to get hold of all three of those different things. But, props to Shrimply Madness for throwing it out there. Yes, I absolutely bought that. Yes, I absolutely used the face mask. And the other, 40 quid's worth of beer that happened to fall into the box with it at the same time, that was also very good. So,
you were buying toilet roll when you needed it. It was like essential. That 40 quid. 40 quid for a toilet roll at the time. It was demand. I think the delivery is only £5. I think nationwide. I'm pretty sure it's something quite reasonable.
I don't think it's particularly high. No.
Well, which I think compared to if you order from breweries, some of the brewery delivery costs are horrific. Yeah. I'm going to name and shame. Wylam is pretty awful. It's kind of £8. £5 if you live locally, because they use the shitty DPD local people. And I just think sometimes, what the hell, it can't cost that much to deliver.
I know we spoke about it last time, but it's the thing that puts me off ordering direct from Tiny Rebel. Their delivery charge is what I consider to be excessive, and I've seen. I said this last time. I've seen companies that are just a little tweak to their delivery charges at this time. So instead, I ordered all of their beers from House Shrimply Madness, got them delivered free. So in a sense, they're still making money, but I imagine that they might have lost some in the process of that as well. So, a pound either side makes a massive difference when it comes to stuff like that. I've seen stuff recently. I won't name and shame this particular company, but I've seen stuff recently where it's like, oh, you can have this item. It's like, all right, cool, but you can pay more than the item in postage. It's like, why would I do that?
It's ridiculous. I think it's something I was talking to someone about the other day. It's local businesses, and particularly kind of craft beer shops and stuff like that, have really adapted well. So the ones that I use kind of locally to me, I mean, a couple of them stayed open because they sell food. So they were like, all right, well, we're sweet kind of thing. One of them's a butcher's as well as a thing. It's called Block and Bottle. It's awesome. We'll have to go sometime.
I was going to say that sounds incredible.
It's also incredibly hipster.
Does the owner / proprietor maybe wax his moustache?
He doesn't, but one of the other guy, one of his other butchers definitely does. I mean, right. I might be banned now that my face is bald, but if I wear a beanie, I might be all right.
On your face,
fake beard.
Quality.
One beanie on top, one beanie for beard. I've got a black one. It's all right.
You got a red one for Paul.
Too mean.
And then like Nord, who's like one of my favourite ones. They've been blessed and they've just had a baby, but also they've been delivering all over the northeast kind of thing, and that's generally it's like £3 just for petrol money, and you kind of like, fair play. I've not got to bother. They come quite a distance to deliver at our house, and they're like, they make sure that it's somewhere safe and all that kind of thing. They were putting ice blocks in there to keep your beer cool in the summer, which is always much appreciated, and that kind of thing. So local craft beer shops and stuff like that. They do people right. I mean, it might be a little bit more expensive than if you buy it from the actual brewery, but they're not going to charge you a massive amount of delivery. I think the thing that I was going to start to talk about is obviously we're booked in at North Brewing for the 24th of April.
Two things on that note. If anybody from North happens to listen to the podcast, don't have any of that beer that Matt just showed. And secondly, has anybody seen the web drop on the shop this week?
All of this.
No.
All of the cans. No. All of the North Bridge, please.
So, has anybody seen the drop this week?
Yes. I want it now.
Man, it looks like they're just like the name of it has absolutely gone from my head. But I remember seeing it and I was like, oh my god, just like that better be on when we go, when we finally are allowed back into the wild. That absolutely better be on. I'm just currently scrambling to find the name now. Of course you've got it on your Twitter. Why wouldn't you? That's helpful. Sorry. Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk about, but obviously, like other things are starting to open up now. I think we kind of discussed about Hop City being already sold out, missing the tickets. I don't know whether they've just rolled over from last year's. And then Wylam have kind of hinted towards the fact that the second bank holiday in May might be craft beer calling time. Hopefully it'll be one of 2 craft beer call-ins this year, with one in October as well. I'm very, very excited. Very excited. Just not words to describe how excited I am. It's because I'm running around in the field.
So the one that I was looking for is called Work and Not Work. Very standard, bang on brand for the North cans, obviously in the glass, but that, where are we, looks particularly juicy and particularly hazy. Well, so looks like it's ticking all of the boxes for me, that one. So yeah, please have that on when we get to come and play in real life, albeit sat in the yard, but it, we're allowed to play out by that point. So
it'll be the, I don't know, well, will it be the first, well, we won't be the first people to go to the new Springwell location, but we'll be amongst the first, I suppose.
Well, we're there within a week of it opening to the public, so yeah, so that'll be good. Maybe we can go and ask him about non-alcoholic beers, Andy.
Gonna push it.
Get him asked.
More alcoholic beer, more non-alcoholic beers, please.
Exactly.
A bit of a Freudian slip there first time around. Can I just, Paul, seeing as you said about a taste off, and you were currently on the Smart on Cocoa.
Mm-hmm.
How nice is this?
It's good, isn't it?
It is very good.
It's one of those beers where you almost don't know if you're drinking a beer.
Has it got that? Has it got like Stay Puffed quality to it, or
a little bit?
I think it's
a little bit
nicer.
So on the flavour profile, that's what it's gone with.
It is very sweet.
It is very, very sweet.
On the back of the can, they've always got like a rating. So, Paul, if you just lift that can up ever so slightly, this one is a coconut rating. A coconut rating of 4 out of 5. Absolutely confirm that it does. It's very heavy, but it is lovely. But like on the Mashed Bandicoot I had just before this one, there's like a dry hopping scale, and I was checking through the cans in the box, and there's different variations. So like the the chili chocolate one has a heat rating, things like that. So they do put a bit of detail into the cans. But yeah, small ton cocoa. Yes, please. Very nice. Very, very nice. The beer that you had, Andy, we sort of that came to us in the middle of playing That's ABV, right? So what was it? Did you want to go back to that? So
I decided to go all with these guys this evening. So Coast Beer Co. And it's this guy.
Excellent.
Before that, I was drinking. I made sure to take a picture. One of their other beers, which was just that guy.
Excellent.
And I'm a big fan of these guys. Coast is like kind of a go-to when you just want something to drink. You don't want any of the, if I'm not drinking peanut butter milk stout or mocha milk stout or rhubarb and custard. If you just want something that's really nice, really easy to drink, Coast have got your back. Them and Brew Drop, the big Brew Drop guys. Those two companies really. I make sure to try and have some of them in at almost all times.
Excellent.
I do feel like one of the podcasts we're going to have to go full non-alcoholic between the four of us.
Non-alcoholic off.
That will be that. We'll discuss that off pod.
Yeah.
Paul was so disgusted by that.
Paul disgusted by the idea that he left.
I was about to kind of bring the pod to an end, and then he's fucked off somewhere.
Oh well, we all know what happened. A couple of beers in, things work. So they've Paul's clearly gone to sort that out. But yeah, go on, Matt.
All right, so that brings us to the end of the podcast, and Paul's already decided to go. Oh, he's back just in time.
Apologies, the excitement just got too much for me, and the bladder couldn't take it. So.
You see, called it. The one bit that you missed though was that we decided that, seeing as you were the one that had to go and break the seal, that for everybody who clicked subscribe for a week after this video goes up on YouTube, then you'll buy him a beer. That's what.
Okay, yeah, that sounds perfectly acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, not so.
Beers for the boys.
Do I get to choose the beer, or do they choose it for me, and I have to respect all purchases?
I mean,
when I get several people coming to me wanting quad IPAs or whatever, and they're going to have £14 a can.
We would like to encourage people to click the subscribe and all the notification buttons, but if Paul's going to offer them a Radler, no dice. But yeah, please, regardless of that, Paul's actually obviously not going to do that, but please give it a like and subscribe. And all.
But the only way to find out if he is going to do that is to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Ooh, mystery. That's a good point.
Schrodinger's cat.
Reverse psychology, isn't it? Right then, gentlemen. Thank you all very much. Thank you to Stuart Woodmansey, Paul Williams, and our barman for the evening, Mr. Matthew Marr. And that is absolutely a pursuit of hoppiness. Thank you, gentlemen, and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
So there you go. What do you think to that? Brew York, a fantastic brewery. If you're a YouTube subscriber, virtual high five. However, have you got all your friends and family to subscribe as well? Because then you would get a high 10, and that's the best. Audio listeners, do subscribe. It means the world to us. You can subscribe SoundCloud, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. And you too should get a friend or a family member to subscribe. I'm sure there'll be a prize in it somewhere. So there we go. That's it for this one. That's it for this month's Beercast. the Pursuit of Hoppiness. Until next time, I'm going to say bye and drink your beers. See ya!